What's up, Set Apart Women? I'm your host, Jamie Lyn, and we just got done filming this amazing episode that you're about to take part in with Bosa. Oh my goodness, Bosa is a kingdom creative, and she's talking about hearing God and obeying. And it is so much more than just saying, hear God and obey. I literally told her in this episode, I want to throw my shoe. I want to throw something. It's so good. I was leaning in and I was listening to every word, and it's so anointed. So I'm so excited you're joining us. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all the fun social media things. Let's just dive in. Welcome back to Set Apart Women podcast, where we demolish the lukewarm living and follow Jesus with all that we have. Girl, you've been sitting back, watching our podcast, listening to it, following us on Instagram, getting the emails, all the things. Go to setapartwomen.co and get your ticket to our 2-day conference called Red Letter Women. First weekend in June, we're so close and you have a seat at our table. Signs, wonders, miracles break out, laughter breaks out. In his presence is fullness of joy. We are women who love his word and live his word. Come to Red Letter Women. Welcome back. I'm so excited. We are here with Bosa today, and we're going to talk to you about being a kingdom creative, and who knows what else we're going to veer into. It's going to be really beautiful. Yeah. But I just want you to know I met Bosa at our church. We're officially members at Mercy Culture, Lance and I love this house. I love this community, and I met Bosa, and then I heard her speak, and I was like, girl, you have a call on your life. You're a deep well, and one day we're gonna have you with Set Apart Women, and we're here. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember.
And so I'm so on. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay. I would love to just dive in. In the time that we have, let's dive in. We'll get to how people can connect with you later, but first, we could talk about being a kingdom creative, but what's your story? What is your kingdom creative story?
Hey, the origin story.
Yes, the origin story.
It's actually interesting. So I graduated with an accounting degree from college.
What?
Graduated with an accounting degree, moved back home. I felt like the Lord said, go home. So I come home and I couldn't find, it was like a desert land. Couldn't find a job. Started working for GM Financial, helping repo cars. Like that's how bad it got. So I'm like calling people like, you're 60 days past due. Oh, you don't want to pay? Okay, well, they're coming. Like that kind of stuff.
And that's sad too.
Yeah, I got a lot of character development from that. Got a lot of character development. But in that process, I was at my home church at the time and just felt the Lord say serve. And so I started helping with social, started creating graphics on my phone. Like I didn't really know how to create things. And after like a year or two of serving, my pastor comes to me and he's like, hey, I sit on the board for this ministry and I feel like you're supposed to go work for them. I'm like, okay, that's not at all what I was trying to do, but okay. So worked there for 5 years and I learned how to use Adobe. I started helping with laying out books, laying out magazines, started helping with their TV program. So I got to learn and develop a lot there. Then the Lord said, hey, it's time to leave. I want you to become a spoken word artist.
Spoken word artist.
Like, spoken word. What is that? Right? Like,
wow.
Was kind of confused because I didn't know anybody doing it.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you could actually like live and do it.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, Lord, if this is really you, I need you to like show me. And I go to a concert. I run into this girl named Gloria, and she ends up being a spoken word artist. And so through that, we connected, and I joined her community in Atlanta for a year and learned about spoken word because I was like,
what is this?
What is this?
Yeah.
And so began doing spoken word. And so now I'm a designer, spoken word artist.
Yeah.
And it's been fun.
Yeah, your spoken words are so powerful.
Thank
you know
so
that
much.
I rap?
I didn't
Do you know this? Lance and I met rapping at Upper Room. We would freestyle in pair sets. Spoken words, same but different.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. This is so cool. Okay, so you're like, you have your accounting degree, then you go and you're like, oh, character development as I help people get the not dream call of refueling their vehicles. And then God pulls you into a church community where you're learning all this creative skill set.
Yes.
And then you're hearing him even more with spoken word. So then today, you have Skill House. I've heard you talk about Skill House, and there's so many questions I have because I just feel, I feel like everything that I've heard you say has come from a place of like a student, someone who's really been through it and like graduated a season from like into being able to teach the lesson that you're sharing.
Yeah.
So you do spoken word.
I do spoken word.
And tell us about Skill House a little bit.
Yeah, so Skill House came, honestly, the whole journey has been hearing God and obeying him, right?
Yeah.
So fast forward, so I stepped out, did spoken word. I took a year off where I was just doing freelance work.
Yeah.
And then after that, started working in another ministry. Then from that ministry, felt the Lord say I should serve my home church, which was then Mercy Culture. So went on staff at Mercy Culture and became the creative director at Mercy Culture for a while. And then the Lord began to, I love him because he knows us, right? He knows his kids.
Yeah.
And so in April, he started speaking to me about transitioning. And it was a wrestle. So it took until August, September, finally got off staff. Like they blessed me out. It was like a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But then I was like, why did you call me out? Like, okay, I've transitioned. What does this look like? In October, he began to speak to me about a creative agency called Skill House. And Skill House is based off of Exodus 35:10, where the skillful artisans created all God commanded. And so the whole idea of it is that it would be a movement to create and steward the hearts of creatives that would do and create all God commands, that there's truly something he desires to see on the earth, and Skill House that we would house, because when he talks about skilled craftsmen, he's actually talking about wise-hearted, those who are wise-hearted. That's what it translates to, because Aaron was skilled and he made the golden calf for them to worship, but God didn't call him a skilled craftsman, but he called those who had wise hearts skilled. So that's the heart, is that we would be wise-hearted creatives that say, okay, God, what do you want on the earth?
Wow.
Okay, let's create that. Let's partner with heaven. So that's the whole heart with Skill House. We're a year in now. I messaged some friends, said, hey, I feel like God is saying do this and we should do this together. They messaged back, or I called them, and they were like, okay, yeah, we were in, because I followed up the next day, because God speaks. So just tell me what he's saying. And so then from there we were off running, and it's been like a beautiful journey. But to really see this is his desire. Yeah. This is what he wants on the earth. That God cares about creatives. He cares about creativity. He cares about arts and entertainment. He cares about media. Yeah. He created all these things. The enemy just tried to pervert them. Yeah. But I think in this season there's a shift. There's not perversion that can stand any longer. And so I'm excited.
It's wild this season in our podcast episodes, how God is like raising up a standard. Clearly we're called set apart women, like my passion and desire is holiness and living consecrated, set apart, and going and living from that place. Let's go. Consistently. But in all of the episodes, there's been this theme of creatives. And I had a dream last year, or I had a dream in 2020 where God told me to start the Next America podcast, and he said the next move of God is coming through creatives, and if it doesn't come through you, it'll come through somebody else. Like if I wasn't going to join in, he'll find somebody else. I agree. And I knew the Next America was truly coming through creatives, and I'm seeing it right now. Yes. And I'm so honored to be part of it and to partner with God. And for any of you listening in right now, you are a kingdom creative. Let me tell you, there's something that you have inside of you that God desires to create with your words, the way you mother at home, the way you serve your husband, the way you empower him, the way you encourage your friends. Like, there is creativity inside you that nobody else has, that is ordained from God. Come on. And we need it. Come on. And that's what we want. So I want to dive into asking you a little bit more about creativity and the consecration of creativity, right? Yeah. Because a lot of Christians, something we've addressed too is, Jasmine was on one of the episodes and we highlighted Axel, creative. And it's like, there is this importance of consecration, right? Yeah. And because we've lost so many Christians, and I think we've seen so many well-meaning men and women go with no covering, no discipleship. So would you speak into what has God showed you about staying set apart or consecrated as a kingdom creative?
Yeah, I love this question. I'd say going back to being a skilled craftsman is being wise-hearted. Yeah. You look at the story of Daniel. Daniel, it says he determined in his heart that there has to be a decision made in your heart that says, I will not defile myself with the king's food. I might know the language, but I'm not going to eat what everybody else is eating. There's this separation that come out from amongst them. Like that is so necessary for kingdom creatives. It's this choice that you say, okay, everybody else might be partaking in that. Like I'll give you an example. I consider myself to be a social missionary. I can't consume social media the way others do.
Right.
Because I have to produce.
Right.
And for kingdom creatives, there has to be this idea that you cannot be infatuated with what you're supposed to have authority over. So if you're infatuated with a thing, you won't have the authority that you actually supposed to possess to take over and like change things.
Wow.
Daniel, if he was infatuated with the king, he would have eaten the food. Because you think about it, this is an honor. That the king would say, you're so wise that I'm giving you the choice fruits, the choice food. It's an honor in the natural. But he knew his father, and he had decided, I'm not going to be moved. So he said, no, this is actually not the honor we think it is. Yeah. So you have to be in such close proximity with the Father's heart. Then you have to choose to not partner. Yeah. And so for kingdom creatives, wherever you are, there's this decision that you have to make in your heart that says, I won't defile myself with the king's food. Like I might be called here to produce and to help lead and change things, but I can't consume. I can't be infatuated with it. Or I might be actually partnering with something that is culture and it's not kingdom. And we need kingdom creatives who are actually standing up and declaring what God's truth is, what he desires. Because many times we get to these places and then we start to maybe like twist it a little bit to say something different, to hold on to the space. Right. And I've had to come to the resolution.
Sorry, I like, no, you said it. And then like I had this pause where I like heard what you said. That was really good. That was like a Selah. You've had a couple of those. Okay, keep going. Well,
I've had to come to the resolution. God might be sending me for a month. Yeah. Like all of this might be training just to go shake it up for a month. And they kick me out, whatever that looks like. Yeah. But it's not about me staying. It's about me making impact for the kingdom. It's about actually shifting things and partnering with heaven. Like you think about if the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, like a seed can change things. Yeah. So I don't have to stay there for years. Yeah. And so I think a lot of times people think, oh, I have to be here for a long time. I think some people are called for a long time. Yeah. Some people are called for a season, but you only know that if you know the heart of the Father. Yeah. And so if he's called you for a long time, he's not going to call you to compromise.
That's so true. I want to throw something. This is so good. No, I want to throw. Oh. Like that was so good. I want to take off my shoe and throw it. Not throw some wisdom at you.
Throw it. Do it. Go ahead.
That was so good, Bosa. Oh my goodness. I'm like on high alert right now with every word coming out of your mouth. Okay, so when you're talking about knowing the Father's heart, how do you know the Father's heart? I know we're set apart women, like we all, but look, like we can always learn more from other people about knowing him.
It's real. I love it. It's so easy. You just ask him, hey, what's your heart on this? Yeah. It's in his word. I think one thing, his word and his voice will always align. So when he speaks something to us, for me, it's beneficial to search it up in the word, because I don't want to feel like I don't know what I'm saying when I'm in the streets. Yeah. You know, like you're out there and you're saying stuff and you're like, well, I don't actually know. It's better to just search it out in the word. So it helps me to know, is this what the word said? Right. And maybe he says something to me here, going back and searching out. So I have more like full confidence that this is God. But I really think just asking him, like just, hey, God, what do you think about my creativity? What do you think about arts and entertainment? What do you think about media? And as you ask him these questions and he speaks, and then you begin to see it. Like for me, becoming a kingdom creative and asking him more of his heart, scripture like now I see creativity, right? Yeah. But it wasn't always that way. So I'm reading the story of Joseph and the story of Daniel, and I'm reading the story of Jonah, and I'm seeing creativity. Yeah. In Genesis, it's all, well, Genesis is creation.
It was creation.
Yeah, it was creation. So, but it like comes alive in a new way in asking him these questions. And I think even going back to your point of, hey, we are all kingdom creatives. Yeah. Truly, when you partner with, if we are to be imitators of Christ, God was a creator. He is the creator. Yeah. And if we're imitating him, we are creatives. Yeah. But the problem is not looking at it through a cultural lens, right, but looking at it through a kingdom lens. Right. So when you're championing, like, no, like we are to be kingdom creatives, we really all can be. I think kingdom creatives are simply those who choose to reform and restore. Come on. That make the crooked ways straight and also restore prodigals to their Father.
Yeah. You know, it makes me think about Jesus, like talk about kingdom creative. he truly was like, okay, first of all, carpenter. That's pretty creative.
It's pretty creative.
And then he creates disciples. He creates followers, right?
Let's
then not only that, he has creative miracles.
Yes.
You know, the dead are raised, the blind see, the lame walk. And then he created a way for all of us.
Come on.
We wouldn't be sitting here if Jesus didn't do what he did. We really wouldn't be.
Yes, I'm sorry, that's a message.
But it's so amazing to think. And so I'm like, man, these evangelists are so creative. Like there's in the context of ministry, you were an accountant. Yeah. Right? And I think this is something else. I would love for you to speak to this because I feel like this is a word for somebody. I feel like a lot of people who are like finance people don't see themselves as creatives. Yeah. So how would you speak to them? Like, how do you feel like God shows up as a creative to our numbers people who we need? I definitely need numbers people in my life.
God, I think the best way to say it is, okay, finances, we need them to multiply. Yeah. Good stewardship multiplies. Come on. Where does good stewardship come from? You have to be pretty creative in order to place systems in place that would help things to multiply. Yeah. To see numbers laid out in the way numbers are laid out, you have to be pretty creative, like that your brain would even work like that. Yeah. Again, creativity has been looked at as paint and art, and, but not solutions and ideas and truth. Like all of these are actually creative. Right. And so I would say to people who are in finance, who are in law, who are doctors, my brother's a doctor or becoming a doctor, and he's creative. Yeah. Like he hears the voice of God. Wow. There's not a part of God that is not creative. So if all of us who have relationships with him, we have to really think, did he shut off his creativity to speak to me? Right. No. Right. Like he's still who he is. Yeah. He's the creator. So as he's talking to you and he's like, hey, here's a better way for you to do your finances. Here's a better way for you to save. Hey, how about don't do that and do this instead? All of that is creativity. And us partnering with that makes us creative.
I love that. So speaking of creative, with Skill House, I had a meeting with your team and we were talking about a possible marketing for you possibly doing marketing for something. I loved the way that you ran your meeting. I love it. I thought it was so cool. You guys prayed over set apart women and you prayed and asked the Lord if this was the time, if this was the hour, whatever. Yeah. And I knew you were asking him, you know, and what is this about Skill House? What do you feel like you've learned obeying him, starting Skill House, working with these two amazing, you know, leaders? What is it that you've learned as a team even more so? Because I feel like every time we say yes, we grow even more. And you know what I mean? It's like an opportunity for like, whoa, spiritual growth, like natural growth. That's just amazing. So what have you learned in the realm of starting Skill House?
So much. I'm like, well, how much time do we have left?
You got some time.
I think in starting Skill House, one of the things that I've learned is really appreciating, one, how God has gifted and wired me, but also how God has gifted and wired other people. Right. That, he's given me strengths, and I could be like, but also like, no, like I could not accomplish what God is calling me to accomplish if I wasn't partnered with other individuals. Right. It was something that the Lord, it was a few years ago, I'd been praying. He was giving me all these dreams and visions. I'm like, it's time to go. It's time to run. Like, let's get it. And he was like, Bosa, you cannot do what I've called you to do by yourself. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Why? Then why are you telling me? Yeah. And I realize now it's because when the scripture says we see in part, it's not just about prophetic vision and our own dreams, but it's also like you see in part. Yeah. Like I have given other parts of this to other people. And as we come together, it's like, oh, that was what okay, look, God said this to me in 2005. Yeah. He said that to you in 2017. Right. And it matches. And it actually makes more sense now. Right. And so I'm learning, one, not only is it that it helps bring a fullness to vision, but two, it brings strength. Yeah. Like I can't do this alone. To do anything kingdom, we can't do alone.
Right. It's true.
Like it's just God in and of himself is 3 in 1. Right. And then I think I could be 1 in 1 and like go get it done.
All you independent women out there, Beyonce, Destiny's Child, they weren't right on that.
They weren't. It was culture.
Culture.
It was wrong.
All my women here in community.
that's you should maybe remix.
I should probably not. For the sake of everybody.
But you could do a rap. We could do a rap on independent community women set apart.
I'll get on it. Yeah, I'll get on it. I'll leave a space for spoken word on it.
That's great. Yeah, I might show up.
I might show up.
I'm sorry.
I love you. Thank you. Thank you for your partial support.
No, I got your back. Got your back.
Sometimes. No. Okay. So this, even what you were saying though about like stewardship, stewardship is like, it's like the main portion of the cake on our end, right? Because
Yes.
God will speak something.
Yes.
And then you're stepping in and you're like, okay, I have all these people, community is important.
Yeah.
But then you all have to steward it together.
Yes.
And can you speak into stewardship? It's one of my favorite things.
Stewardship is so fun.
It's also one of the hardest things for me. I'm just going to be honest.
It's real.
There's so many things in my life that I feel like I've had to like look in the mirror and be like, you aren't stewarding this well. Are you going to own it? And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's other areas that are yes, but for other people, yes. For me,
We all are
I've
growing.
had to learn. Yeah.
We're all growing.
Yeah. I'm growing. But anyways, please speak into that.
Stewardship is actually funny. I was talking to a group earlier about this. One of the things for me that struck me, Psalm 23, verse 1, where it says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." The Lord like hit me one day with, "I shall not want" means you shall not need, which means I have everything. Like
Wow.
I'm a good shepherd. I have everything that you need and want.
Wow.
I'm covering it. So what are you looking for? Just ask me. And so what stewardship has become for me is this: I don't have to look anywhere else, just to him. So like he tells me to do X, Y, Z. So Joshua 1, God is talking to Joshua and he's like, basically Moses has died. It's time for you to take over. Go into the promised land. I want you to take everything. Go full force. And then Joshua 13, the Lord is meeting Joshua again. He's like, yo, you're old. And there's still a lot of land to conquer. And then he starts listing it and he's like, basically go get it. like let's go. And what I've learned is, so in Joshua 1, he's saying, be strong and courageous.
Yeah.
And so what I've learned with stewardship is there's still this, like in partnering God, you still have to do the work. And it's still like you have to be courageous.
Yeah.
And it's still like you might be looking at the land and you see giants. And you might be looking at the land and it looks occupied. But God is still like, I'm here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to win it for you. So you think about the battle where Moses was on the thing and he was holding his hands up and Joshua was on the field. They both had to play their part. Joshua had to be at war. Moses had to be holding his hands. When he dropped his hands, they lost. But if Joshua wasn't on the field, who was fighting? Who would be fighting? So both were needed. Everybody has a part to play. And I think stewardship is just, for me, I have a part to play, but the level of success is not on me.
Right.
I don't have to help determine that. I just have to be obedient to what God is saying. So if he's saying for me to do this and I don't think I have it, then I don't need it to accomplish this thing. I just have to let go.
Yeah.
So whatever I have in my hand, which is excellence, using what's in my hand, that's what I'm going to use.
Right.
But that's good stewardship.
Right.
Because a lot of times, this is a sidebar, but this is not a dig at anybody. Working with different people as a creative agency. So you'll have churches who are like, hey, I want blah, blah. And they'll bring like Stephen Furtick Elevation. Like, I want it like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're not Elevation.
Right.
Elevation has hundreds of people on their creative team.
Right.
You can't do that.
Right.
But what you have in your hand, we can do this.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times, sometimes people think stewardship is like striving for excellence,
Right.
which is really perfection, versus what did God give me? If there's nothing else, if I'm not going to lack a thing and he's asking me to do this thing, whatever he's placed in my hands, I'm going to use it to the best of my ability. Right. I'm going to steward that thing. And I'm not going to take ownership where it's like the weight of success is on me. Because I realize God might invite us into things that aren't supposed to succeed in the natural.
Yeah.
Like I released a spoken word EP. And I was laughing. I think it was a few months ago. I was going to go share somewhere, and I looked up. I was like, "Let me just look how many views I have
on
my EP." It was like 1. It was like, "Well, praise God, thank you."
That's so real.
You know, like
you're like, "But I did it."
But I did it.
You did it.
And it was the process of writing, the process and listening back again. Even the process of making it, I grew so much with my friend Eric and how to produce, and but like I needed that to grow.
Yeah.
And so if I never did that, I wouldn't be able to do the next thing.
Yeah.
But this is still success in the Lord's eyes because I heard and I obeyed. Now, if I would have tried to carry the weight of making it perfect and I like was owning it, when I saw one person, it would have been a meltdown, breakdown. Right. I couldn't have gone to go share what I was supposed to share.
Yeah.
But then instead I got to go there and be like, y'all, my EP only had 1 listen, and praise the Lord.
Yeah,
like,
you can tell people.
Yeah.
But then it helps people relate and like, oh, you know, like I can do this.
Me too. I don't have. Pastor Steve.
Panate. I love him.
He's hilarious. But I remember he ran for mayor.
Yeah.
And I remember being so nervous when it was like happening. I was like, I'm praying. And like when I saw that the results weren't going in our way and we didn't win, I was like, God, but he obeyed you.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of, it didn't, that's not success, wasn't winning.
Yeah.
Success was obeying.
Yeah.
And it opened up this like, oh, like it's just about obedience.
Yeah.
I don't have to hold I need to like make it happen.
Yeah.
Because that's the ownership part. That's the part that many times, especially creatives that we can get into of like, you're trying to own the end result where it's like, oh, I can't actually do anything with the end result, but like just doing it.
Yeah.
That's the win.
He's a really good marketing agent.
He's awesome.
Like he's really good at taking whatever you did and it going exactly where it needs to go.
Yeah.
I remember writing Holy Revolution is my first and last book that I wrote.
Come on.
I have more books. I have more books coming. Yes.
Yeah.
But I remember it was so like, even writing that, you know, there's so much warfare and then it comes out and then the comments people make to you. And then, you know, one of my good friends, we're in ministry together, same publisher. Then all of a sudden they had our books go out the same day.
Oh, wow.
We both had this really real conversation because already people were making comments to me. It was that brought in a comparing spirit.
Yeah.
And I was just like real with her, like, hey, I don't have anything against you. I'm excited. I didn't want us to have the same launch date so that we could celebrate separately in a way.
Yeah.
But you know, like we had this conversation, okay, well, if anything comes up, you know, and her book went off, right? And mine didn't. And mine wasn't pushed or anything. And it was this really cool place of like, I wrote this with God.
Yeah.
And it went where it needed to go.
Let's go.
And it has its day too, where I think more people will know about it. But I know many stories, but I know one story that was worth it all.
Come on.
And that was more than enough for me.
Yeah.
But I actually had to get to the place where that was like, I felt like going into it, I was okay with whatever happened.
That's good.
I knew it probably wasn't going to be like the first book bestseller, but I honestly probably thought it would do a little better, right? Or be marketed better or whatever. But I think God really brought me to this place where that was tested. But do you really feel that way? You know, like,
that's good.
And I was so grateful for the growing and there were some hard things about it where it's like, LOL, I remember reaching out to my publisher and I was like, how many books have I sold on Amazon? And she told me and I was like, wow, I've sold 4 times the amount that you guys have. You know what I mean? And I'm just me and I don't really got a lot going on here, you know? But it was one of those things where it's like, okay, but we did it.
Yeah.
You know, and I have great friends that remind you along the way too. Like, hey, you did it, you know?
I love something you just touched on though, where you said that it's probably not over for your book.
Yeah.
That's the thing about kingdom creativity. It doesn't die.
Yeah.
Like when you actually partner with heaven, it's something that you're creating that is eternal, that has eternal, the impact on other people's lives. That's eternal impact. But then 2, somebody can pick up that book in 5 years and it still be relevant to life and what they need 10 years from now. So that the time that it pops off or whatever, who knows? Like there's an eternal trajectory now for this thing because you partnered with heaven to create it. My
grandbabies and my great grandbabies will have access to that. You know, it's cool.
Yes,
that's really cool.
I love it.
Okay, so this has been so great. Is there anything that you would like to say to the women, possibly some dudes? What's up?
Hey,
tuning in right now to close out this episode.
I think ultimately I've realized that my life. I'm 32, but my life message would be to hear God obey. Yeah. It is the foundation of everything that I've done in my life, and I'm learning that it's necessary. I think sometimes you think you're crazy when you're doing stuff, but it's like, no, like this is so necessary. And so my last message would be, hey, if God is speaking something to you, if he's saying something, do it. Sometimes as women, we shrink back or we want to minimize ourselves. We want to minimize what God is saying. Maybe we don't want to take the forefront. But really and truly, if God is calling you into a thing, just like he said to Joshua, be bold and courageous and go take the land, go create, go make, go shift culture, engage culture, because your voice is necessary for such a time as this. If Esther wasn't in place, a whole people group would not have been saved. We need you in position. Yeah. We need you bold. We need you courageous to do the things that God has called you to do. So hear God and obey. And partial disobedience is disobedience. Yeah. And sometimes we say we did it halfway. Halfway is still not obedient. And so my challenge is hear God and obey him all the way. Do it fully to the way that he asks you to do it. And sometimes it's scary, but it's necessary.
That's so good. I love that. How can people connect with you?
I am on Instagram. It's bosa.com, skillhousestudio.com, skillhousemade.com. But really just send me a message on Instagram. I love talking to people in the DMs.
Yeah, I love your Instagram. It's very encouraging. She has this Dear Kingdom Creative series that I really love watching it on. So thank you for all that you do. Much. Thank you for hearing and obeying. Yeah. You're really good at it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're encouraged to hear God and obey and hear the fruit of someone's life who's doing that, not just the biblical stories that she gave examples of, but also her own life. And this is for you too. You know, I don't have these guests come on here because XYZ, like they're just like you and I'm just like you. And we just want to live to the fullest of what God has called us to do without compromise. So we love you so much. Thanks for being a part. Don't forget to go to setapartwomen.co for more events we have in person and go check out all of Bosa's stuff. We love you and we'll see you next week.